recording it. So this is the project I'm working on. This is the Paul Sellers House of Furniture's TV unit or TV console. So this is what I'm working on. So I am starting with these 4 panels. So 2 on the sides, 2 small panels on the side, and 2 large panels front and back. The front panel is going to be the face of a basically a large drawer. I have already built 3 panels. The 2 side panels I have already built. I'm working on the uh, back panel or the front panel. I mean, I have not decided which one I want to keep on the front. The one that looks better, probably I'll choose that. So so this is what like my one of my side panel looks like. So this is actually the back side. This is how it looks like. So this is already glued and all. So his example, he has used like a same color wood. I have used a contrast. This is not my original idea. This is again based on Paul Sellers bedside cabinet, which I have already built, and I really like this concept. Plus the fact that I am able to use a lot of scrap pieces of wood, which is like premium hardwood actually. I have used a lot of pine here, which contrasts really good, and yeah, I think it looks great. I just want to stay with that theme. So this is what I'm going to working on making one. So let me keep this aside so that I don't dent it. So even this panel, as you can see, I have already made a couple of mortise and tenon joints, but I will take it apart and I will navigate through what I really did, the measurements and the layouts. So let me pull it apart. The 2 joints that I made, that came out pretty good. Not saying that they weren't there weren't any challenges there. I did make some mistake. Mortise and tenon is like a lot of patience, sharp tools. They're so much critical. I think my router plane wasn't sharp enough, and I still progressed with that. That may be the reason. Like I struggled, but still they came out pretty good. But I have sharpened my chisels, sharpened my router plane blade. This is the one like I'm using, like the one that I made out of Paul Sellers router plane kit. I really love it. Let me install the blade here so that it doesn't. I'll keep it aside. Okay, so what I did was, so there are going to be like 2 horizontal pieces we call the stiles, and 2 vertical pieces, like one on the bottom, like this way. I can a little bit show it an angle. So this way. I don't think the other one is visible, but you get the idea, right? So it's large rectangular panel with the rails, the long rails, top and bottom, the stiles on the sides. So I have chosen, like I have already, like when I initially like dimensioned it, I have like a face mark here, my registration surface, and the face edge mark on one side. So these 2 are my registration, and I've already like made the grooves using my Stanley 45. If I remember, the width of the grooves were 3 by 8 inch. I really love like making grooves using my Stanley 45 or any plow plane. That's just happens to be the one I have. I found it in a deal. So I love using that. I've already made those. So what I did was that I kept the these 2 like my with my face marks aside. So because these go together, I've dimensioned it in such a way that they are equal in length. I feel flush with my fingers. So I gang them up, put them in the vise. This is for the layout how I did. So my mortise hole, the total width, because this thing is going to go this way, the total width is going to be the width of this one. So I put a pencil mark here, but that's not going to be the let me show this way so that you can see it. So I made it flush, did a small pencil mark on this side, but that's not going to be the total like width of my mortise hole, because there is this groove here. So I put this aside on this one, feel it flush again, I make another mark inside. So that that new mark is going to be like depth of this groove, which is, I forgot, it's 5/16 of an inch. So that is my end of the mortise hole, like one side of the mortise hole. And on this side, so I did on same thing on both sides. And on and from the end I wanted like 3/4 of an inch from each side. So I did that, marked with the like pencil, took my combination square, squared them off, all this. So I have the layout of my mortise hole, like ganging them up together, like make sure that they both are, like, even if there is a small difference, they are all both in the same line, so they would be exact. And one thing I like doing is that I need to mark the interior also. So I just put like a piece of wood that is same thickness and just use that to mark the inside, like lay out the inside of that one. But I've seen what Paul Sellers do is like he will just put a ruler like this at an angle and make it like layout with the outside line, and there's mark the inside of the groove also. That also works just fine. Uh, so yeah, and another thing that I did was that when I mentioned that which one, how it's going to go together, so these are my two sides, so left and right, put them, put a triangle. This is more like a traditional mark, I believe, or at least that's what I've seen Paul Sellers do. That means like top of the triangle goes up, this is the right, this is the left. Easy way to mark, and so that I don't mess things up. Similarly, this one, there will be one side on the bottom and one on the top. So I just chose it to go this way. And so I have, like, similarly, I have triangle marks here. I've made two triangles just because it's too long. I don't miss out on anything. So this one on the top, this one on the bottom. Now I just have to choose what's going to be my next, where do I want to concentrate on the mortise hole. Let me choose the right side top, keep the one that I don't need aside so that I don't confuse myself. So this is the right side top where I'm going to chop the mortise. So that means I have to, my tenon is going to be, this is the bottom piece, I don't need, keep it aside. You don't want to be like messing up things. Just double checking. I know, like, I'm certain this is accurate, so this is where it's going to go. Not able to show it properly. So this is where it's going to go. So I keep the tenon aside. Usual practice, as I understand, is to chop the mortise first, and we then dimension the tenon as per that. So I will use this mortise guide that I, again, Paul Sellers' idea. This is a 1/4 inch plate that I have put. So from the face side, it really doesn't matter because my mortise hole is going to be like equidistant from both sides, but I try from the face side. I clamp it in the vise like this. There you go, it's stable. You can obviously do all these things with a bevel-edged chisel. The only reason is I have those Narex Richter ones, and I'm not too confident. I'm concerned that I may bend those. So I've tried doing with a bevel-edged chisel. It works just fine, and its advantage is that it's easier to sharpen those, at least for me. But I have already invested this in mortise chisel, so for now I will use this one, but I may switch to bevel-edged sometime. So I first go towards that end marks to make sure that I mark those properly with my one tap here. So that's the end of the mortise hole, and again from this side. Okay, now I just start from one end. I go like 1/8 of an inch away from that end, because it gives me some time to, I will not lever on this one because I'm very close to the end piece. Again, shifting by approximately 1/8. Now I can start levering a bit. With each subsequent blow, I'm going deeper. Now I again go back just to deepen that hole. I'm going back this way because it will help me like chop out the mortise faster. I'm not going all the way in, so again I come back. I try to lever out that waste, not putting like an extreme amount of pressure and trying to break the wall. If it doesn't come out, I don't fight with it too much. It will come out in the next chop or something. So now I travel towards the end, and my bevel is pointing to the same direction towards the end. So I try to take, like I was trying to take eighth of an inch. I will go a little bit less. So I keep levering until and pull these chips out. So until like I hear the dead sound. This is the dead sound. I don't go too much further. This does happen in my vise. I think it's like it slips sometimes. I again take it out, clamp it again, cinch it tight. And the total depth that I want to go is 1.5 inches. I had a mark there. I think got it may have got erased, or I think it's there. It's faint because like during the sharpening session so this is the mark. So I'm going 1.5 inches from the top. I still have some meat on this side, so I can still lever from that one, but now I'm too close. I go the other way. Try to split the distance, put my chisel at the angle and bevel to the side of the camera, to your side. I'll lever on this side. Now I go back to my exact like mark again, but still slanting my chisel. Instead of perpendicular, I'm slanting. I want the corners to be as accurate as possible for me. I'm trying to improve my. And now I went vertical. I felt like this bevel was taking me a little bit in, so I still angle a little bit. Okay. Now what I do, I travel the other side, bevel towards the camera. Just like I'm not trying to lever the waist completely out, but just to loosen it. Now I am very close to that line, so I again do the same thing. I'm right up against the line, but angling my chisel. still angling, not going vertical. Now I will go vertical because there is very less material or meat on the bevel side. So okay, so now I take a narrower chisel. This is a cheap one that I tend to use. I can use the regular one. Just to, I will wiggle this in like this. Try to take those like chopped off fibers out. I can take out from this vise and remove that jig, the mortising jig, so that it's easier for me. And also the fact that I don't need it as of now. Like I can take that out and clamp this back in. I'm trying my best not to liver or like bruise the end, like the ends, the walls. It feels good if I can get it accurate. I try some, but I end up bruising a little bit. But it's a process. I'm not trying to pare down and like the base, because that's what I want to work with my, like by chopping the. Okay, now I put it back in. I could put that jig again, but I have a decent depth, so I think I can go a little bit deeper without that now. Let me start with this side. When I'm close to that wall, I could lever a little bit more because this bevel was like kind of like pivoting at the base of the hole rather than at the walls. So that gave me the confidence to lever it just at the end. I'm trying to go from the other side again, just to, it helps loosen the fiber more. As I was explaining, like when I was building my workbench, I was so much scared to like chop mortises by my, like by hand. But now with each, I'm enjoying it so much, and I really like making this by hand, and I'm getting faster also. So I'm like 1/4 of an inch, around that, 1/8 to 1/4. I need to go 1.5 inch, maybe a 16th below that, so that my tenon is not being held. So what I do at this stage is I put the jig back. because this is what I'm going to do in any case at the end again. So I use the jig. This is one big advantage of this Paul Sellers mortising jig. I take a wider chisel, register against the end, and I will just pare down. I start with the very end because the haunch is going to fit there. I'm keeping it registered. If there is too much resistance, I would not hesitate to use my chisel hammer, which I will do. So this will make sure that the wall is like level and as good, like as finished as, like, seem like it has been finished by a plane. And it slightly like relieves it, and now my chisel can I can goes easier. I will also do from the other end at the very end, but for now this is enough. It is surprisingly fast. I mean, I'm not the fastest, but sometimes I'm quicker than this, sometimes I'm not. But what I'm trying to say is that with practice, this can get surprisingly fast. And I think it's very enjoyable. Like doing this by hand. We are sensitive to each, like what exactly we are doing. Like not the machine doing for us. So I'll just double check. I'm not going too deep than I need to. Yeah, I think I have some depth to go. I go back. Does look like I have gone a bit of depth. It's just not like too uniform. I know I'm going from the other way, but I think that should be okay for me. There is a hump in one of the areas, so that I'm just trying to clean up that, and then I'm going to measure it, like how far I am. I think I am like pretty close to my mark. Let me see, take it out and see. This side it's beyond 1.5. I'm already till depth. This is around what? This is also 1.5, but I think there is just a small hump at the corner. I'm just going to clean that up. Was it this side? Just trying to make sure that the edges are perpendicular. Now what I will do, I will use the jig again to like make sure that the walls are, and then I can shift to my tenons. Take the wider chisel. This is a side I had already planed, so the base there is just a little bit of cleanup to do. That's it. I'll just come from the other side to see like if there is anything to clean up. Then the mortise hole would be so accurate and like equidistance from both sides with like mirror finish. Yeah, there is a little bit to clean up. I'll do that. Does this make the mortise hole slightly wider? It makes it marginally wider. Doesn't like, it makes it very accurate. There is no hard and fast rule to have a exact like dimension mortise hole. It's not impacting the integrity or the strength, as long as my tenon fits it accurately. I'm there. I'll show you now the I'm trying to stabilize my hands. Just see the walls of the mortise hole as good as they are planed. Like the base is going to look like a little bit, the bottom is going to look a little bit choppy or something, but that's how the hand chopped mortise holes look like. So that's it. That's my mortise hole. I keep this aside. I bring the piece where I want to lay out my tenons. So again, similarly, what I had done was that because the mortise holes are 1.5 inch deep, what I did was that I ganged up like again the two rails, like 1.5 inch. Let me show you quickly. This time I went with my marking knife, put my combination square like this, 1.5 inch from the end. Let me show this side if I can. No, this side. So just to show it, 1.5 inch from the end. Did a knife mark on both the pieces so that they are aligned. Same thing on the other side, and then that's it. That's about it. The mark on my tenons. Now I bring this piece in. I still have that mark, which is my registration face. The other side, I register my combination square from that side. Put my knife on that mark. Bring my combination square there. Mark it. Now it's going to, the tenon is going to be cut on, so I can mark on all four sides. That's what I meant to say. Again, this, the groove side is my registration face edge. I register on this one, bring my combination square here. First mark light pass, heavier, very heavy. So all four sides, if I'm accurate, they are going to just align like when I'm done. I'm just making sure I only use the two registration faces. I mean, if I'm accurate, they are going to exactly align right now, and they do. Light pass, heavier, very heavy. So that's my marking done for my tenons. No, one more thing to do. So this is my mortise gauge, which is set to when I was laying out my grooves, and my mortises were also like supposed to be at that depth. So this is already set to 3/8, right? Just checking for you. Yes, 3/8, around that. So in that measurement, so I just take that. I will use this like which is my registration face, this side. So register against that side, and I will just mark it. So I have the marks so that I can see it better, and also hopefully it shows up better on the camera. I will mark it with pencil on top of those lines. Okay, now time to cut the tenons. I will cut the tenons fat, little bit fat, like cutting on the waist side. So I clamp it low, bring my tenon saw. This is my Spear and Jackson tenon saw, like restored, not restored. It's a not a vintage one. It's like shaped. I've shaped the handle to my liking as per Paul Sellers, like this thing. So it's comfortable to my hand. And also, like I sharpened it couple of times. It was last time it was sharpened was like a month or so back. I hope it is still sharp enough. I go to the waist side of the line, start from the far end, keep my thumb nudged in so that I don't jump off, blow away the particles. I can go from this side a little bit. And once I'm near about there, I try to merge those two lines, still keeping my thumb there, get that through cut going. So now I can go a little bit deeper, not too deep. That's my, I keep cleaning this up, my saw, so that the particles are not there, not bothering me. Again on this one, the other end of the, exactly the same thing. I keep my thumb a little bit longer because I can also go just instead of starting from this side, I can just elongate and get this line straight. I keep the thumb a little bit longer because sometimes my saw tends to jump off and come on the, like creates more bruising than I would like to. Now I pull this out, angle it this way. I'll just concentrate on one side, my side of the things, and I will go corner to corner and concentrate more on this side of the line. I still start with this one. So this, I let this initial curve guide me on that horizontal path, and the vertical one on my side I am trying to concentrate more. So I start a little bit more horizontal, then slowly lower my saw, clearing the particles so that helps me see where I'm going. I'm keeping my hands light on the saw, not try to force anything, letting the saw do the work, making sure I don't go past this line that will show up. This side is done. Same thing on the other side, other cheek I mean. One thing I should have done first, or usually I tend to do first, and maybe a good idea, it's not a deal breaker, is that I tend to saw the, like the cross cut, what do we call, the shoulders first. I will do that just after this, and then come back. Normally I do that first and then the this thing, but I do forget sometimes, like I did. The reason I do that is because, like, when I cut the cheeks, like as soon as it reaches that point, the shoulder point, uh, it helps prevent, like, going too far low than I want to. So I'll do that knife wall thing, step down knife wall, whatever you call it. I flick this with my hand. So this helps me register my saw against that. May not be able to see it because I have to put the thumb here. If I don't put, it will jump off and like bruise it on the good side, which happens to me sometimes. So I tend to keep my thumb pressed against the wall for a little bit longer than recommended, I believe. Try to register against the wall, but if not, at least on the waist side. Just looking at it, I don't want to go deeper than I need to. That will just weaken my tenon. That's it. I'm a little bit on the waist side, but I at least have the knife line. I can use my chisel at the end to get that accurate, get my accuracy that I am shooting for. With more experience, I believe I can go right up to the wall and saw right straight up against the line. But I mean, there is another way of thinking, like I don't need to. I can always come up with the chisel and get that accuracy. I can use my pointing finger also, but I like using the thumb. Very light, clean up just to see how I'm doing. I feel it's sticking. Don't hesitate to go and use this. This is just like a rag in a can, Paul Seller's rag in a can, simple can with a piece of cloth and 3-in-1 oil, soaked in 3-in-1 oil. I think I'm good there. That saw, even though I've sharpened, I think I'm getting close to my next sharpening station. So yeah, this is what I should have done first. So I have like already sawn this side of the cheek. Now I will do the exact same from this side. That's the problem with my vise actually, sorry. Is okay. Bring back my saw. Again, try to do the same thing from here. Trying to stay in that curve and concentrate on corner to corner, this one from this side. Not pressing hard, I'm just trying to breathe and let the saw do the talking. Do the cutting, I mean. I'm right at the depth. Now I can go horizontal. Those two like corner to corner curves, I keep pressing this so that it helps keep my saw aligned. Just checking here. There a little bit of like leftover on this side. I'll clean up with the chisel and my router plane. Same on this side. My saw was drifting. I come back again, restart. Right up against the line. So I go back this way, horizontal. Okay. My initial cut on my tenon cheeks is done. Not the cleanest I usually get, but that's fine. I can clean it up. I know it's what I wanted. This should remain like fat or thick, which I want to, and then I go back and try to clean. So there are like there is little bit more cleanup to do at the base, like because of my inaccurate sawing. So instead of going to the router plane, which is time consuming, I'll just use my chisel to get that. Don't go all the way normally, but I am being sensitive towards it, and this piece is again going to, so I should be coming from the other side really. And stop there. Now I can come up with my router plane, just making sure this piece breaks off because that's a part of the groove. I'm trying to make sure that it just takes a small amount from the surface. I think I have to tighten this plane. It's not taking anything at the end, but it's taking anything from the base. I just try to clean that up. If I feel like it's the router plane is trying to chew up more than, like there is just too much, I will go back with my chisel. There is a little bit more here. I could have done with the router plane also, but I will just, I'm using the corner of a chisel just to be sensitive and take it all the way down from one side. It didn't break off anything. So as long as we learn that how to use it sensitively, we can use, assuming the tools are sharp also, that I'll still go from the other side. Just a good practice to have. Always checking thickness, not a bad idea. Eventually I want to use that router plane to be equidistant from both sides, but keep checking because once we make the tenon thinner than it needs to be, it's just too much material here. If I try, so what do? I can back off my plane a little bit just to see. I'm using the corner of my blade just to make the initial mark. Now I can go deeper. I mean, I'm approximately as deep as on right now on the other side. Go back, keep checking. It's just going in. I want to go a little bit deeper. I want it tight, not too tight that the end of my mortise hole is going to split. I don't want it that tight. Even though I want the same like same depth router plane, like to route it from both sides so that it's equidistant, I still test from like at each step to make sure I am not. It's actually going in. I think I can go from the other side. It's going in very tight, so I'm almost there, I think. Not taking anything on this side. What does that mean? That means I can take more from the other end. Just like quarter of a turn or a third of a turn. I use the corner of my blade coming from outside because I feel more resistance. Go back, check again. This is going pretty good. I don't want to go any further. The next thing I want to do is mark the, let me make sure I'm using the right, this way, okay. So I will use that just so that from your side to mark the, because there is a 3/4 inch there, so I just line it up here, keep it flush against the wall, use my pencil, just make a mark here for the vertical. Like I need to take a portion of the this thing out, so I use that as a like a gauge. Draw this line here, and then there is going to be this haunch here, like this depth. So I will just register the shoulders against that, take my pencil and mark that base. So here I just use that again, that measurement as a finger gauge. I'll go on the good side of this one, so that because this is not going to be visible if there is a gap. So this one from the vertical, I start from good side, I slightly angle, very slightly, and as I go deeper, I will go towards that line. The idea is that the tenon starts going easy, but as it goes deeper, it gets tight. So this one I go right up against the line or like on the good side. So this time I'm going like trying to split the line. I may pare it down also even further. if I feel like it is holding my uh, tenon, like it's bottoming out, whatever. Now I will try to clean up the shoulders as per my knife line. That's what I like to do at this stage. Take this chisel, register right up against that my knife, my initial knife mark. Just a quarter. It's a big chisel, but like 1 inch chisel, but I use like just a half of it, less resistance. Then I use that registration surface and the knife wall or the knife line to pare it down. No undercutting. I don't want to build that habit. Or intentionally, I'm not trying to undercut. So here I go very sensitively, if I can say, because there is very less support. In fact, no support on the other side, and this may crack. Doesn't matter as much, but if I can avoid that, then just trying to clean up this base. I don't want these fuzzy bits to be holding my tenon. If I am right against my knife wall, I don't need to measure, but I can always check my accuracy by putting this combination square and checking. It looks perfect. Again, just clean up work. And while I am here, I want to bevel the ends of the tenon so that again it eases into that. So the easiest way to bevel from this side is bevel down, keep it here at a slight angle. One blow should work, but two is fine. And I will also make a slight bevel on this haunch. Because I don't need that part to be too tight or anything. Now I'll clean up, do the same thing from the other side. Let me start from this side because I have more support. I'll come from this side because there is so much, like so less support, that it's invariably going to get. I think I'm good there. This more or less fine. Again, I do the same thing from this side. Like an eighth or a little bit more. Now this side I can just use my chisel. Slightly angling upwards. You don't need too big a bevel, but this is good. So I have like this is what I have done. Now I will see, like test it out how it fits. Goes here. I can feel it's little bit tighter than I would like to. So I will just eyeball it and see like which side I need to take out a little bit more. I'm not changing my router plane settings just to see like where I am. Quarter of a turn. So what I'm trying to do here is I see like there is a step, visible step on this side. Maybe I want to level it first. Basically, I took like, instead of quarter of a turn, I took like almost half a turn. Yes. Not going any deeper. Test this out. So this can, it seems to be going decent. Like, let's see. If when I heard a crack there, I don't want to like take it. Just trying to eyeball it to see like where this could be holding me. Let's see. I will not change my router setting. I'm just trying to see whether I was accurate or not. If there is, I'll come from the other side. Back it off a little bit. I don't know why it was taking it more than I need to. I just, right now, I don't want to take anything more than a whisker. It's going like it has gone like halfway in. I'll just try to do some mild. I felt too much resistance trying to eyeball it, whether it is side to side. No, it's not. I try to get this out. I'll pull this apart. I feel it's going to be a good tenon, good and tight, as long as I'm trying to eyeball it just to see like where it could be holding. Feel it could be here. I'll go to the other side. If it is taking too much, I'm I'm taking ever so like slightly like. Did it go deeper? I think it went a little bit deeper. Trying to look for the here for that sound. See, I'm almost there. I could hammer this in, it will probably go, but I'm still like trying to feel for the movement and like there is ever so slight like a gap. I'm trying to be very sensitive there. You know what? It went in almost completely. I feel a little bit too much resistance. So what I will do, I will back this off. Look for like any shiny spot or like bruises to get an idea on where it could be holding. Sometimes what happens is I feel like this part may be holding it. So I will take like a small shaving from here. I see like it's a just a little bit of cleanup. I found like a little bit of bruising, or like not bruising, but a shiny spot, meaning that is the place where I could feel like it was resisting. So I take it again, make sure I'm in the, give it another try. Definitely this is going in. It's all the way in. Trying to look for the gap. I think this is, I'm happy with this one. Little bit of clamping, and I think even this will go. You see here, like I will probably do a little bit of cleanup on the shoulder. I think that may be holding up that gap. I'm pretty sure it can come out fully. Yeah, I can see that visible thing that may be holding it off. Let me see if I can do that right now. I could see my knife line. That's what I meant to say. So I'm not trying to pare this down more than I need to. I'm just using my, that knife line is so important. Like if I see a little bit of it, that means I have not fully down, and that could hold my, that gap that I see, that could be a result of that. And same on both sides actually. So even though this is the one that is like the face side of it, it's the one that is visible. Let me see from this side. I can see my knife mark. So I'm there, but there is a hair I could take. Registering right up against that mark that I see. This is very good. I'm happy with that. I'm just cleaning the shoulder here, like those fuzzy fibers. I just. Let's see. Does it improve that, or does it close out that gap? I think it did. See, completely. That gap is completely gone. Little bit of planing. This I can feel like it's very flush on my fingers. This is the haunch. There is a little bit of gap here, but that doesn't bother me because that will be hidden and I will plane this out. That's the mortise and tenon. So I had done 2. This is the 3rd. 1 more to go. So yeah, till the next session.